Haven't made a video for a while. Sorry about the steering wheel in the way. I know you're not really bothered. But yeah, been an interesting time. So I thought to do a little bit of a breakdown of what's been going on. I had an accident. I fell, long story short, and the way I fell, I tore my pec off my shoulder. Okay, so it wasn't a complete tear, so say that's the pectoral, like that. Major, the pec major, it goes over onto the humerus. I lost 4 centimeters, a 4 centimeter tear there. And when you tear this, 4 centimeters is responsible for like that much of the pec. So it just coiled up on me here. There was like a big gap, big hole here. So they wanted to go in and operate. So I tried to put it off. I waited 3 weeks, and in 3 weeks my range of motion was coming back. And the surgeon was saying to me, he said, look, you're going to lose a lot of symmetry, which obviously I don't care about symmetry. But he also said, look, you haven't got a lot of pec left. And he said, if you're a young active guy, he said, I definitely recommend getting the operation. So long story short, 3 weeks after the accident, they did an incision there. So cut me there. They looked to see if there was any tendon on the end of the pec, which there was. They drilled holes in the humerus, and then they stitch the tendon to the bone. Okay, I don't know. I think there was 3 or 5 stitches into the bone. So the recovery is pretty slow. Okay, this is my 4th week since the operation, and I'm still just in a sling. I've got another 2 weeks in this before I start physio, but and it's getting better. Like, I'm feeling good, but I'm definitely getting some atrophy in this arm and in my shoulder. This is going a little bit thin and skinny. This arm's skinnier than this arm already. It's amazing how fast the body atrophies if you don't use something. So yeah, the operation was all good, but I got the flu after the operation, because it's pretty rough, mate. Like, I'm very grateful for the Western medicine, the hospitals. They're obviously needed. And I'm not saying anything bad, because the experience was nice as well. I was in and out. But it's pretty grim. I never ate a single thing while I was in there, because it was the food. Like, people say hospital food is bad. Mate, the quickest way to get sick is spend time in a hospital. And I say that respectfully, because they definitely have an important role, and I'm not bad-mouthing them. But they brought food round one day. Sorry, it's raining, it's a bit noisy in here. And the food was defrosted bread, 2 pieces of defrosted bread, and a little carton of like dodgy jam, right? And it was so bad. I obviously didn't eat it. And I just thought, God forbid, you know, God help anyone that's got to spend a lot of time in here. And meanwhile, you're just getting smashed with drugs and antibiotics. I was meant to get 3 courses of antibiotics, but when I found out what they were putting in my arm, I stopped the 3rd one. I said, look, I don't want any more of this. This is all good. It's like just procedure with the operation. And then I got out, and then my body just went through a gnarly flu. And I know it was just to get rid of what was in the body. They were giving me, I had like 3 endones, whatever they're called, and I had 2 Oxycontin the day of and the day after my operation because of the pain. And then that was what I got given to take home. Threw them straight in the bin. And I actually felt withdrawals from them. It was pretty full on. And then I was just having Panadol when I needed them, but I tried to get off them as soon as possible as well. So I went through a decent period of time of just not really sleeping, just waking up through the night in a lot of pain. It's very common for people to tear these stitches back off again, so it's really got to be careful with the healing process and just be sensible, which I have been. I've never I've never been this good in my life when it comes to like an injury, even like when it was still torn. Before the operation, I had my bands out. I was able to get back bench pressing and that. The pec looked weird. It was like sort of coming down here every time I moved my arm. But you know, I was trying to find a specialist that would let me not get the op. I was actually trying to find one specialist who said, look man, I don't think you need that. But I saw a physio, emailed my MRI scans to 3 other specialists. I had the surgeon. Ended up speaking to about 8 or 9 specialists and they all said get the op. So that was a bit of a shame. But anyway, it's done now. And yeah, so the body detoxed through a gnarly flu. As I said, I was really ill, violently ill for one night, and got that out the way. And now I'm on the mend. A lot of insights. Yeah, the benefits of meditation. You know, I always bang on about meditation. But in all honesty, during this, and I'm talking about from when I did the accident and I was in a lot of pain, because honestly, when I actually tore it, the pain was was excruciating, and the operation, the pain was excruciating. But like when I went into the operation, to the hospital, and I had to wait from like 9 in the morning till about 4:30, nil by mouth, and I literally just got into the zone. I just sat in meditation and I just silently was chanting, fully present, and it was just amazing. It was an amazing experience. I was able to look at what was happening. I wasn't getting stressed. It was so cool. And then in the end, the nurse come over to me about 4 o'clock and she said, mate, we've been watching you. You've done so well. Do you want? We'll move you to a more comfortable chair, which I did. And then even with the pain, always trying to find some type of something to be grateful for. And with the pain, one thing I was grateful for was pain's ability to keep you present. It's so true. I was waking up at midnight every night in agony. And there was one night there was a couple of nights where I was really in pain, like Danielle woke up because I was moaning. And I had some painkillers. They didn't seem to do anything, but it was still beautiful. I was like going into like a lot of the Buddhist teachings of when you're in pain, you ask questions like, what does the pain look like? What color is it? Where is it? Okay. And it's really interesting because you can't find it. It's a projection of the mind. Okay. And you know, we can talk about that in another video, but that was allowing me to not run from it, because when the body's in pain or the mind's in pain, like a defense, a survival mechanism, I assume, is the body tries to run away from it. So meditation allowed me to sit with it and just be with it, go into it, okay, go into the forgiveness of it, and it was beautiful actually. It was really nice. But in saying that, when I got the flu, the first night that I got hit with the flu, that was one of the hardest nights of my life. I really mean that. That was like, it felt like every aspect of my body and my mind was just being contorted. And I felt like my body was trying to run away from it, and my mind was trying to run away from what was going on in my mind. It was honestly like experiencing hell. And I know it sounds dramatic, but the insight I got from that, which I'll share with you guys, is when you hear people who have near-death experiences, the suffering goes on for so long because you don't have a physical body, but you have the sensations of the physical body. So you're experiencing the suffering, but you don't die. But the Buddha said that this body is illusory. Okay? This phenomenon isn't real. And that's why these practices, like looking into the pain and trying to find where it is, you find that its origination is dependent on multiple other factors, and it's empty. It's empty of a separate self, right? So that night made me realize, wow, if I was in that condition for eons, that's hell, and it's not a good place to be. So it's important to be able to free our mind, free our soul, detach from the physical realm. And but it was hard, man. That first night was, I'm telling you, a hard night. I felt like I spent the night in hell, and it was because of what the mind was going through. It was like I went to bed at 8 and I woke up at 9 an hour later, and that was it. The night was a long night, and every time I felt like I was going to sleep, I'd get these waves of weird energy in my mind, and I felt like someone was just, as I say, just bending my mind. I was in agony, but my body was in agony as well, and I ended up going to the bathroom at one point and just staying in the kitchen trying to move my body because my body was in so much pain. I was vomiting, I was freezing and boiling hot as well. I've had a lot of flus. This is one thing that makes me laugh with all the COVID talk is, you know, you get the flu every year, every 2 years, maybe every 3 years. They're never nice. The flu knocks the shit out of you. The flu is not nice. And I've had some bad flus, but this was a bad one. But people are still saying, oh, you had COVID. I've never done a COVID test in my life. The reason they've been able to sell flu jabs every year is because they say there's a different flu every year, but people are still saying, oh, it's COVID, even though it was 4 years ago. But besides that, I feel like it was everything I'd been through in the operation. You got to remember, these surgeons, good people, but if someone touches you, you can have a transfer of karma. You have sexual intercourse with someone, massive transfer of karma. Someone's cutting you open and they're so rough, and then they blast you with drugs. There's a lot of karma. Now, if I'm there and I'm with these people, it's my karma and their karma. So don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming anyone. Whatever I go through is mine. But there's still is a reality there. There's still a reality to the fact that, you know, they're pretty rough when they go in there. They're blasting the body with antibiotics, whether you need it or not. You're having all these chemicals and drugs. They play the radio in there while you're under. You know what I mean? They're playing Triple J or whatever when they're doing the operation. You know, it's a rough ride. And I just felt like that was my body getting it out. Whatever page I was going through, I went through it. It was pretty hardcore. But yeah, I thought I'd deleted my Facebook. A few people had said, oh, I'm glad you're still on. I've been watching your videos. And I was like, I didn't know I was on. So I'll come on today. I found out that the account's still there. So I thought I'd make a video for Facebook. That's what I've been doing while I haven't been on Facebook. I've been through a bit with this. A lot of people are going through a lot at the minute. Finding gratitude is the key. Okay, what can you be grateful for? What lesson are we being shown? And remember, anything we go through is ours. And the more grateful we can go through it, the more conscious we can go through it, the more patient we can be, the more we can surrender and move into forgiveness, the more we're actually purifying our spiritual debt and progressing. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, so a bit of a random video explaining what I've been going through, but that's what's been happening in the last few months. So take care, love you all.